There's a security guard by the name of Calvin James Munnerlin that was shot dead in Flint, Michigan at a Family Dollar because he told the family, hey, your little girl has to wear a mask to be in the store. And then the mom became hostile. You know, she had to be escorted out the store. It's like, you know, you can't be served. And then she came back later with her husband and son, and they confronted the security guard, and the son ended up shooting him dead. It's a really messed up situation. And the thing is, and I bring this up because no one's talking about it. No one's talking about it at all. When I heard about the story last week, I was really saddened because of the senseless violence. And I was like, this is so messed up. And, you know, kind of just like, you know, I felt pretty bad. And no one's talking about it. And the reason why no one's talking about it, it's because it's not a delicious, juicy story. It's not salacious. And the reason it's not salacious is because everybody that was involved is black. And that's just like the sad but true thing, you know? A lot of stuff like that happens when it happens to be black people, or it's just all Hispanic people or whatever. You know, the media is just like, I guess we can cover it, you know, but they ain't gonna pump it up. Not like this story that I'm talking about right now, and I'm sure most of you are aware, the story of Ahmaud Arbery, what went down in Georgia, where the initial story is that Ahmaud went out for a jog, and then this family thought that he was a suspect in a burglary. These two guys by, I think their last name is McMichaels, the dad and the son, and they thought it was a good idea to pursue this gentleman, get their guns, and do some vigilante justice. They thought that was a really good idea, and they ended up killing Ahmaud. You know, they feared for their life, and you know, the police, they looked into it, and they were like, self-defense, open and shut. Let's just close the books on this. Yeah, that's unfortunate, and then that's just it. And so that was like almost 3 months ago. And the reason why it's being talked about now and why you've probably seen it in headlines everywhere is for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's because celebrities like LeBron James and countless others started, you know, really blowing it up. I started to see murals of Ahmaud and just started seeing all this crazy stuff being propped up, and everybody just saying this is just purely racism and this and that. And it just went crazy. And then finally, the McMichaels were actually charged. So they didn't just get away with it, because that was one of the biggest points of this, is that these guys that killed Ahmaud are just scot-free. Like, doesn't that seem a little bit weird to you? Doesn't that seem a little bit weird? Doesn't that seem a little bit like either favoritism or lazy? Something's going on to the point where this wasn't investigated deeper. And so it became a little bit weird. Now, that was a story on the surface, but there's so much more involved, and it really disappointed me because it started to become so politicized in the way that, you know, the left and the right had their own takes on it, to the point where, yeah, this is just racism, and we're tired of black people being shot, and you know, all you hear that all the time. And then you had people on the right, typically people, gun owners, that are threatened because they're like, oh no, don't you dare take my guns, because someone wasn't responsible with their guns. Other people saying that they think that this was an okay thing to do. You know, like, it's not, in my opinion. It's definitely not. You know, whether Ahmaud went out for a jog or he actually was burglarizing a home, which I'll get into in a minute, he doesn't deserve to be shot dead. I think that's kind of really important to focus on that. But So here's the thing that really kind of annoyed me the most. So the first time that I really saw this thing blow up was from LeBron James, and he posted and he was just kind of freaking out and saying like, damn, I'm paraphrasing, but he put up a post on Instagram saying like, we can't even jog, we can't do this, and we're being hunted literally every time we step outside. And first that kind of annoyed me because LeBron is kind of putting himself on the level of someone like Ahmaud or myself because we're black, and I'm like, yo, you are an infinity billionaire. I know we have this similar skin complexion, but you don't, like, how could we even possibly identify with you, man? Like, you're like a god amongst men, essentially, and I don't think you'll ever be caught in this scenario ever, you know. So it kind of annoys me when he wants to like kind of insert himself into like, yeah, I'm just like you guys, you know. That's how it kind of came off to me, and where I understand he's still upset, but it's also, I feel like it's a little tone deaf as well. It's kind of like the whole, remember Gal Gadot and all the other celebrities? They're like, we're in this together, guys. Imagine there's no heaven. And it's like, shut the fuck up. Like, I don't want to hear that shit. So there was him, and then I saw actually a post from this girl named Chantel. She's from a show, 90 Day Fiance. I'm not sure if she's from one of the offshoots or the main show. I really don't remember, but I do remember catching some of episodes with her, or a season. Were very attractive. She reminds me of Hillary Banks from The Fresh Prince, except for Chantel has massive cannons. And she posted something that was kind of showing you that, oh, these two, or my name is Ahmaud Arbery, and I was murdered by two white supremacists. And then I was kind of like, white supremacists, interesting. I didn't know that they were white supremacists. Where did you get that information from? I don't think they actually are. At least I haven't seen any information. I haven't seen people focus on that. So, and then it was a thing that was, it's at the NAACP in the bottom, and I'm like, who wrote this? Like, who's trying to put this out? And Chantel has a large following on Instagram. So that was really disappointing to me, because this wasn't like just, you know, a day or two ago or something. This was days ago that she posted that, when the headlines, when the story really started to break. So I'm like, how could you possibly even know if they're white supremacists or not? Who told you this shit? And to me, I think that's really dangerous. And you see the narrative that's being painted, and I'm like, I don't think it's that. I think it's just these two backwards idiots that think they're fucking Batman, or they think they're Dirty Harry or something, and they really want to just take the laws into their own hands. They think they're doing something righteous. They're like, oh, this guy's not going to get away, and then ended up shooting the guy because, oh, we feared for, we think he was strapped or something. And it's like, there's no good excuse. You can't make up a good excuse. Now, the one other thing I want to focus on is people trying to, you know, justify what's happening, trying to actually back up the McMichaels. There's some security footage that came out. There was like you know, where you have the doorbell things, or you have just the security cameras that's a few frames per second. And so it showed Ahmaud in front of the lawn of a house that was being constructed. So he was there, and then it shows him entering, and then there's another angle showing you that he's actually inside, and you can see the lumber and everything. And so they're like, that's it, smoking gun, he was up to no good. And I'm just like, what do you... Okay, even if he was there to burglarize some tools or something, I don't know, does he deserve to be shot dead? I'm serious. Like, when I'm seeing people say this, these, like, I don't understand their justification. Like, I feel like you have to be very cold-hearted to think that justifies someone being killed. Now, one thing I will say is, to people that are very curious, or if they're criminals, either or, I think it's a bad idea to do shit, because there's people, you have the Karens of life that will call the cops on you. And I will say, the person that called the cops, not in the wrong at all. Because if you see something that is suspicious, you can call cops, and then the cops are supposed to do their job, and hopefully they're going to do it right, correctly. Everything's going to be good. They would have questioned Ahmaud whether if he was just out for a jog and he was curious, or if he was actually going to burglarize things. He didn't actually do anything. This isn't fucking Minority Report, you know what I mean? And so it would have been like, all right, well, okay, just stay off the property, have a nice day, and then everybody goes about their business. Ahmaud is like, shit, all right, I'm not going to do that anymore. And then all of a sudden he's alive, and then we're not in this situation. So kind of like that. And I think it's also really important to, like, say, know that something like if you're trespassing or something like that, a misdemeanor, I still don't think it just sounds like a terrible idea to pursue somebody who does something like that. I feel like if there was footage of him shooting someone in the face, aggravated assault, something that's just egregious, like a felony, and you're like, I'm sure this guy did this. I'm a legit eyewitness. Let's go get him because we don't want him to strike again. Okay. And then the tragedy happens. I think in that scenario, people can kind of be like, all right, I get it. It's still kind of, you shouldn't really get involved like that, but I get it. You were trying your best. You really were thinking about the safety of other people, and then this happened. Like say when I talked about that story in Flint, Michigan, where the security guard got shot. Obviously, I'm sure there were witnesses that saw that. Now, if somebody, I would think you're still pretty crazy for going after the suspects, but I would understand maybe some people might want to do something like that because, I don't know, vengeance, or they want to make sure that these people don't do something crazy, because obviously, the son that shot him, he's more than capable of doing some crazy shit, so he might do something else again if he feels threatened, or if he feels like someone's onto him or something. In those scenarios, I'd be like, that's crazy. I would never pursue it. I would call the cops and let them handle it, but at the same time, I can kind of get why you would pursue. The McMichaels, stupid. So I also understand why some people would try to paint this as, oh, these racist people. It's Georgia. So I'm just like, I haven't seen the evidence of that, so I'm staying away from that. You know what I mean? I'm completely staying away from that, because I also don't think that every case like this, and the reason why things were kind of swept under the rug, was it's just racism, it's business as usual or something. Or actually, I would say business as usual, but not in that angle. I would say in business as usual as in, the judicial system is extremely flawed. I mean, some of the biggest cases in the last few years, right? One that we just were aware of it through Tiger King, with Carol Baskin and her late husband. Super suspicious, right? I think we all know that she had something to do with his disappearance. Very shady. And then think about the people that were involved in Making a Murderer, if you saw that on Netflix as well. Super shady. And the thing about that, all white people involved. All a bunch of white people. Just redneck, fucking middle America people, whatever. You see that it doesn't really matter about the color, in my opinion. There is fuckery afoot. And people will do open and shut things because they're lazy, or they're looking out for someone, or there's always stuff like that happens. And so I think this is that type of case where they're like, let's just give this guy the benefit of the doubt, self-defense, all right, boom, open, shut, let's get out of here. And now that it's gotten all this public scrutiny, they're like, well, this doesn't seem right. We need to arrest them and charge them, because this does seem more like a murder, because it doesn't seem justifiable at all. Yeah, there's footage of this dude being in there trespassing or whatever. Even if he possibly had the intent of stealing something, does not warrant being chased down and shot because, Ahmaud lunged at him. I'm like, okay. Yeah, let's make it about this dude. It was totally, I mean, I want you to think, the people that are gun owners, the people that are kind of trying to defend the McMichaels, I want you to think, how would you act if people that weren't a part of the law, two civilians, see you running down the street for whatever reason, whatever you're running for. And then they have guns and they're asking you questions. Are you just going to go quietly into that night? Are you just going to like just completely comply with these two fucking regular jamokes? These fucking mooks. Are you just going to be like, yeah, okay. Yeah, do what you want, man. I'm just going to wait here and I'm pretty sure you guys are going to probably fight back, or you're going to try, you're going to probably try to do something because you think these people are threatening you, So I want you to think about it from that point of view. You probably in that scenario there's a good possibility that you would end up dead as well. Now, when the cops get involved, I always say it's a good idea because these guys are legally able to carry their firearms. This is what they do all the time. Just comply, even if you think you are 100% innocent, whatever the fuck is going on. Just comply so you don't get in a situation where you get yourself killed, because that can happen too, even though I think it's a little less likely because I think civilians are very irresponsible, and just like this scenario where I really don't think guns were needed in this scenario. Like I always say, I love what Pop says, you win some, you lose some, but you live to fight another day, when you use your fist. Or damn, even a fucking bat, bro. Like, goddamn, like, why are you so quick to just pull out a gun, man? Like, I don't know. I think that a lot of dudes think like guns are the shit, and I actually do like guns as well. I've purchased a 12 gauge, but to me, it's not anything it's a last resort thing. I really don't feel like I've always hated the thugs that are always strapped, or people that are always strapped and think that like, yeah, this is the shit right here. I can't wait to use this. I can't wait to kill somebody. I'm just like, damn, bro. Like, I understand throwing down, man. We can throw down, but I really don't want to. I really don't want to get shot. I really don't. But yeah, messed up situation. It's definitely reminiscent of a lot of stuff that has gone, on a lot of high profile cases and just like senseless deaths where somebody ended up in the wrong place. Somebody did something that they really shouldn't be doing, and then someone takes it to, they escalate it, and then someone gets killed. And so it's like, I think a lot of people can learn from this, where I think it's a good idea. Let the cops do their job. If you see something really suspicious happening, try your best not to take the law into your own hands. Even if you think it's totally legal to make the citizens arrest, I think the best thing is just let the cops do their job. They're pretty good at doing their job. Detectives are pretty good at finding people if something really fucked up happened. It's just a good idea to let them do it. And then other people, if you're, like I said, if you are committing crimes, I mean, obviously, you're not going to listen to me. You're not going to stop. But people that may be curious, like let's say if it's the angle that Ahmaud was just curious and nosy and looking in there because, hey, he's never seen a house being constructed or whatever. We don't know what he was thinking. We never will. Don't fucking do that. Don't do it, because you might end up in a scenario like this where some people might shoot the shit out of you. Like Wu-Tang says, protect your neck.